Hey friends, it's me, Rosie Bits, and I'm back with Tantric Tips with Rosie Bits. Okay, so before we get started, please like, subscribe, do all that good stuff so that I can, get these videos to you and you can see them because I got good stuff coming out. Okay, so what we're starting with today is how to be dominant in the bedroom. Now, if you missed my last video, it's about sexing up your sex life. It's making things spicy in the bedroom. And we are going to talk a little bit, the baby beginnings of how to be dominant in the bedroom. Now, I have been a dominatrix, professional dominatrix on and off for about 10 years. I actually call myself a goddess, which is a little bit different. It's more of a sensual dominatrix or light dom. I certainly can do some very heavy dominating things. I do enjoy putting people in a space of a little bit of pain here and there, sometimes a little bit more than a little bit. But generally it is about worship, and it is about that mind control of having, a dominance over somebody, but in a very gentle way, so they just melt into submission. So we're going to talk about the baby steps of how to add a little dom into your bedroom, little dom into you. Okay, so I would say, one of the first things to set up is have some good communication. Before you even do anything else, have some good communication with your partner and talk about what they find sexy, right? Like if you're going to explore being dominant, what does your partner find sexy about dominance? Do they want to be yelled at? Do they want to be humiliated? Lots of people don't, but they still want a dominant partner. Do they want to just be led? Do they want to be a pillow princess? So you are just leading them into what they need to be doing, and they're wanting you to be a pleasure dom, right? They're wanting you to give them pleasure and get off on it, right? Like, what is the dynamic and what sort of dom? So what gets them off, but also what gets you off? What about being dominant makes you excited? Is it for your pleasure or is it for their pleasure? These are important questions. Once you've figured that all out, then you need to talk about what are the things that are 100% no, right? Even if you're into, say, humiliation and degradation, there will be things, words that are going to trigger you, right? Or that are going to trigger your partner. There will be things that you're not going to, like, as a dominatrix myself, there are many things that I'm not willing to do or say that I'm like, nah, like I will make fun I'll make fun of you, I'll degrade your genitals because that's really what gets you off, but I'm not going to say this or this or this because that goes against what I feel comfortable with, right? And the other side, the submissive, is going to have those things. So I want you to have conversation about where those trigger spots are, what could become problematic, what are hard no's in the realm of dominance, right? And you're going to do this like as a general conversation to start getting into the idea of domination. And then you're going to do it every time you play. You're going to set up, you're going to talk about triggers, and you are going to set up a safe space, and you're going to talk about hard boundaries, so things that are like a no, because some days there's going to be things that are going to be like, ooh, I'm really into getting spanked today, and the next day it's going to be like, oh, hell no, I don't want that, please don't do that. And as the dominant as well, some days you're going to be things that you're super excited to do, and other days not. So you're going to, every time you get together with your partner to do this, you're going to set up that safe space, hard boundaries. You're going to set some safe words so that if your partner is in a like subspace, if they're in an altered state from what you're doing, they don't even have to think about saying no. They can say whatever. They can say red. Okay? You're going to set that all up every time you play. Okay. The next thing you're going to think about is the fact that I think even if you're wanting to be a little bit a harsher dom, being a dominant is really the most nurturing position of the two, I would say. Even subs who are deeply about being in service, I think still, the dominant is about, they are setting the space, they are creating the scene, they are making the decisions, and it means then as a dominant person, you need to be incredibly nurturing. It's almost like you're being like maternal or paternal in some ways in the way you're setting this up. And especially if you're doing something like impact play, so gently bringing in some spanking or some whips, you know, something that's going to involve, you know, a wooden spoon. If you're doing something like that, you really need to set up such a safe space. You need to research. If you're going to do rope play, the same thing. You know, do some research on where are safe places to, you know, hit your partner. Where are safe places? How long can you tie people up, and what are the proper ways to tie people up? That's all your responsibility as the dominant, to learn all of that and set that up so that there is safety within the play that you're having. Because in order for there to be a deep level of consent on both of your parts, and for your submissive to be able to let go, to submit completely, they need to know that you are a very safe person to submit to, that you have got them, that you know, you've researched all of this, so you know, like if I'm gonna tie up somebody's cock, I know how long, and I'm actually watching the clock because I know how long I can tie their cock up tightly before it actually creates serious issues. And I have scissors, you know, medical scissors close by, so if I can't get them untied, I can get them out. You are gonna explore all these possibilities. And I would say, don't jump into the deep end. Some of the stuff I'm talking about is more deep end, like don't tie your partner's cock up right away. Start with some gentle things. Start with some easier things. Start with some mind play about, you know, feeling that dominance and seeing if you can get your partner to melt into submission just by you giving them a look or inviting them to. Like, it's time for you to submit. You're gonna just let go now. I've got everything. See if you can start doing it that way. That melting, that beautiful melting submission. Now, the next part that you're gonna do, once you've kind of figured out these things, all these things, and you explored the details, you are actually gonna create a scene. So before you start playing, you're not gonna just like be like, oh my God, I got these whips and I've got these like handcuffs or these restraints, and I'm gonna do some tickle torture with a feather, but I don't. You're gonna actually sit down, you're gonna think about it, you're gonna be like, oh, my partner and I talked about this, we talked about some sexy fantasies. I'm gonna write out a scene and plan it out and plan out what we're gonna do. Now, if your partner consents to it, you can just create the whole scene yourself and surprise them, which is delightful for a submissive to be totally surprised. Or if your partner's a bit more nervous, you can be like, hey, here's a scene I planned. Do you have anything to add? And then you go in with a plan, ding, 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 which really helps you to be successful. Okay, last thing in this like very baby, beginners world of domination is aftercare. I'm going to do a whole video on aftercare, so don't worry about it. I'm going to get to it. But know that you're going to have to put time aside for some aftercare, because even when you've done something new, you've both gotten excited, you've gone into new territory, even if it's really, you know, still pretty gentle, still pretty vanilla, you just tied them up and had sex or whatever seems light to you, that can still be enough to bring up emotion. And especially if you've done something like you've gotten into some impact play, you've done some serious tying up, you've done some humiliation, degradation, any of that sort of stuff, you need to be able to help your partner come back out and into the world. And as the dominant, I find I need aftercare with my partner to be like, okay, we're back. We're out of these roles and we can connect now back to normal life. So I'll have a whole video on aftercare, which will explain it in more detail. Watch for that. The next video is going to be about how to be submissive. Okay, see you there.